Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Just want to show you how you can create a dashboard that has so much life. This is World Bank data that I extracted from 1960 to 2018 on Zambia. It basically shows the death rate per 1,000 people. In 1960, for example, Zambia's death rate or mortality rate was 17, imagine, per 1,000 people. No, it was 20. It was 20, imagine, 20 in 1960 per 1,000 people. You can see this hump here around 1994. A lot of our relatives, we lost a lot of our beloved ones due to HIV/AIDS, and the data does not cheat. You can see that. Just go there. So you can see 1990, the death rate was about 18, or death rate was 1.3%, and we're out of a population of 1,000, about 18 people on average were dying. But this is basically due to HIV and AIDS. At that time, it was so brutal. The world had not yet developed proper medication, and I guess none of the experts understood the disease. This is what is there. Then I tried to use the same data to try and explain the connection between the GDP, HIV new infections, and the life expectancy. So let me just remove this. So you see, again, there's a slope around 1994. Whereas this side, there's a hump because it is talking about death. The other side, it is talking about life expectancy. Let's try and compare the life expectancy. We compare it with HIV new infections. So if I do like this, you can see around the same time, when life expectancy had actually reduced, the infections, new infections, HIV infections went up. We had around that time in 1990, we had over 90,000 new infections. So I guess World Bank started collecting data on Zambia on HIV infection, in 1990. We had 79,000 new infections on an annual basis in 1990. It started reducing a bit, it went up. During that time, we could see even the life expectancy started reducing. Okay. Then I tried also to link the GDP against the life expectancy. So if I come here, you can see, for example, that at the time that the life expectancy was going down, also the GDP was down. It is simple. If you do not have a healthy people, you cannot generate meaningful wealth as a country, so your GDP cannot grow. Then I was also interested in actually checking specifically checking on the GDP and the leadership then. In 1960, 1964 before 1964, this was a colonial era. You can see that the GDP around that time was about 713 million. In 1964, it should have been around 839 million. At the time, Dr. Kaunda was leaving the presidency around, I don't know if it's 1990 or 91, somewhere there, maybe 91, 92. It was at $3.2 billion. Mr. Chiloba took over, or Dr. Chiloba took over. At the time that the President Chiloba was leaving power, about 2001, GDP had only grown by $1 billion. Yeah, by $1 billion. President Mwanawasa took on, and when you look at this slump around that time, it was a time that Zambia was highly indebted. Then HIPIC were forgiven through that program called the Highly Indebted Poor Countries. The GDP grew from 4.2 billion. Up to the time of his death, it was at 17.9 billion. So those how much? About $13 billion. So he grew the economy about $13 billion, but obviously there were underlying reasons for that. Then from 2008, when President Banda came in, it was at 17.9 billion. At the time of leaving, in 2011, it was 23.4 billion. So it had actually grown about 6 billion. Then President Sata took over around 2011, 2011 up to 2015. It was 21.1 billion. So it grew about, I think, 3 billion or so. Then President Banda took President Lungu, came in around 2015, end of 2015. Okay, sorry about that. So in 2018, GDP was about 26, is it 26.6? Yeah, basically 27 billion. So this is how you create these interactive charts or dashboards. Then in many reports, I've observed that most of these reports will have tables like this. This is a lifeless table. So I decided to beautify it a bit, bring in a bit of some life, and created something like this. It is normal practice now in the corporate world to design reports that are full of dashboards. Reports that are visually engaging, because then it becomes easier to even make decisions. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.